What's going on, everybody? I'm your host, Ben Balian, back with another episode of the Sports Pod. And in today's episode, I'm going to talk about the New York Giants ahead of their Monday Night Football matchup against the Patriots. Jaxson Darts is back. Mike Kafka, does he have a chance to be the head coach of the Giants moving forward? I'll get into all of it on the other side of the intro. Hit it.
DiVincenzo a three. Bang! Bang! Got the wall. He jumps. It's gone. He did it. He did it. Pete Alonso with the most memorable home run of his career.
All right, getting into the episode and starting with Jaxson Darts' return to the lineup. It's everything for the Giants. When he's in the game, it feels like the Giants have a chance. I mean, the 4 games that he's played, he's delivered the 2 Giant wins. He almost won in New Orleans. It was a bad stretch at the end of the game, but he put up a respectable number of points. They scored 14 in that one. You could pin that loss on the defense. They gave up 26 to the pitiful New Orleans Saints. And then in that Bears game, the other loss that he played in, the Giants were going to win if Dart didn't go down with that concussion. So what I get out of that is that every time Jaxson Darts is on the field, the Giants have a solid chance at winning a football game. And now you fire the defensive coordinator. That could be a positive. With Jaxson Darts returning, I mean, I know the Patriots are such a tough team, but they made the Eagles, the Giants that is, look like their little brothers in primetime. Jaxson Darts, I think, is going to be one of those quarterbacks that thrives from playing on Monday Night Football, on Thursday Night Football, and on Sunday Night Football. When the lights are at the brightest, he just seems like that kind of player. He's got that swag. He's got that mentality that I want all eyes on me. I want this moment to come down to what I'm going to do. Can I lead this team to victory? I think Jaxson Darts is the type of guy that thrives in those situations. Fight or flight, Darts going to fight till the bitter end. But the one thing is, the one stipulation with how Dart's going to play, and if the Giants are going to win, he has to be safe. If you got the first down, get down. Go out of bounds. There's no reason to take unnecessary hits, and I hope that this concussion, which sidelined him for 3 weeks, I think 2-3 weeks, I hope while he was sitting on the sideline, unable to help his team that was losing, I hope he realized that this sucks and I don't want to do it again. So I got to play safe in order to make that happen. Because that's all it is. If he plays safe, the Giants are going to be in such a better spot because of it. I know this season is lost. They're 2-10. They're eliminated from playoff contention already. Scatterboo's done for the year. Neighbors was done from the year in week 4. All right, fine. Next year, though, if the Giants pick right in the draft, I think they're going to have a chance to compete for a wild card spot. I don't think that's crazy. But for that to happen, Jaxson Darts needs to be on the field. And the way that happens is by Darts playing the right way. And when he's running, he gets down. He doesn't take unnecessary hits. That's how the Giants are going to thrive next year. And everything starts with Darts. It all goes back to the quarterback. You saw it. The Giants had Daniel Jones last year, which I know Jones is balling out, Indiana Jones right now. But when he was with the Giants, he wasn't playing like that. That's no secret. And that was why that was a huge reason as to why the Giants were so bad last year. And you bring in one guy who plays quarterback and who is going to be successful playing quarterback for the New York Giants, and the culture is completely changed. The energy around the team is completely changed, and the results around the team are completely changed when that guy is on the field. Because 2-2 doesn't sound that bad. It's really 2-1, possibly 3-1. If Dart finished that game in Chicago. I know the defense was really the reason that game was lost, but Russell Wilson didn't help. I mean, the Giants' offense went back to being what it was in the first 3 weeks of the season. when Russ came into that game. So I don't expect the Giants to win any games because I think at this point they're losing on purpose. And if that wasn't clear after the loss to the Lions, where they had a chance to kick a field goal and make it a touchdown game rather than giving the Lions a chance to go down the field and score a touchdown and send I think it was actually a field goal, and send the game to overtime, which they ended up doing, they would have won that game. So they're losing on purpose. The tank is on. I doubt they win any games down the stretch of this season because they don't want to, but it would be really nice if Mike Kafka and Jaxson Dart can put something together and give the fans some more hope heading into next year. I think there is hope based on how Dart played in the first, I think, 4 games of his career. But if the Giants are able to win maybe 2 games down the stretch, I'm looking at their schedule now. I see the Raiders is a game they could win. And I don't think the Commanders are anything crazy. I think they could win that game. J.J. McCarthy isn't anything too special with the Vikings. He's been pretty bad, honestly. I think the Giants could beat the Vikings. So I do see a world where the Giants win 2 of their remaining 5 games. 2 of their remaining 5 games. I doubt they win on Monday Night Football. The Patriots are a really good team, and Drake May is also the real deal. But if they could put something together, they could go out there and win a couple games. It would be so good for Dart's future to build the culture around the team. So Dart has that winning mindset. He knows what it's like to win football games. He knows how to do it. That's an underrated aspect of a player. A lot of these guys like to lose. The Chargers are the biggest culprits of this. And whenever they have a close game down the stretch, it just feels like they're going to lose because they can never win those games. Being a winner is huge. You have to like to win. You have to want to win. And I don't care if you're 2-10. I don't care if you're fighting for the number 1 overall pick. You need to win games to build a culture. And now moving into my next point, Mike Kafka. What is his status as the Giants move into the latter part of their year and eventually into the offseason? Could Kafka remain as the head coach after stepping up as the interim head coach when Brian Daboll was fired? I don't think so. I just think there's better options out there. I don't think Kafka's a head coach material. He's a fine offensive coordinator. I'm not too worried about that. And I do think he can stay with the franchise just because Jaxson Dart needs him. Jaxson Dart already learned his offense. He's already played a couple games under the system. He's going to get a couple more games under his belt as the season goes along. Jaxson Dart knows what he's getting with Kafka. And so far, at least on Jaxson Dart's side of things, it's been good. So I wouldn't mess with that. I wouldn't change the quarterback coach. I wouldn't change the offensive coordinator. I would keep all that the same. On the other hand, the defense has to change a lot. Shane Bowen is out, and I'm surprised Mike Kafka took the liberty in firing Shane Bowen. I believe it was Kafka who did it and not Joe Shane. I'm sure it was some sort of a collaborative effort, but I think Kafka was the one who went on the offensive and said, we need a change at DC. Shane Bowen's out, which, listen, it had to happen. It's just, I don't know. It seems like Kafka's kind of taking advantage of his power as interim head coach. I mean, it doesn't happen too often where the interim is firing a coordinator. Like, if the head coach fires a coordinator, fine, whatever. That's how it's supposed to go. But the interim, I feel like that's pushing it a little bit. However, I think Kafka's status with the Giants depends on how they finish this year. Another reason for why they should win games and not put the tank on. If the Giants do find a way to win 2 or 3 games, they are still going to have a top 10 pick. But Mike Kafka will return to the franchise, and that's good news for Jaxson Dart. They'll still have the ability to take one of the better receivers or secondary, free safety, whatever, cornerback, whichever player you want. I doubt there's going to be guys going in the top 3 from the secondary. That doesn't usually happen. It's usually quarterback, maybe a receiver, a lineman if they're really good. Those are the positions, offensive or defensive. They could both go in the top 5. A safety though, that's probably picks between picks 6 and 10 is probably the first safety that's gonna go off the board. And if the Giants are in that spot, that's fine. I'm okay with it. You need to build up your secondary, and I'm not even sure. I don't know yet what I want the Giants to do in the draft. I need to see what their positioning is when the season is over and who's available at that position. There's 2 positions they could go. They could either go wide receiver and pair Malik Neighbors with another young stud, or they could go safety, secondary, and shore up that defense a little bit. All right, on Tankathon right now, the Giants are the 3rd overall pick. They have the same record as the Saints, though. I don't know why that is. I'm not sure how the tiebreakers work, but I feel like the Giants will probably. I need to look at the Saints' schedule, but I have a feeling the Giants are going to lose more than the Saints will down the stretch, just because the Giants are tanking, and the Saints will play the Titans, the Jets, and the Falcons. I feel like if you're not winning one of those games, you guys can have the 2nd overall pick. I'm not too worried about it then. But even with the 3rd overall pick, the Giants are in a good position. If I can see, let's look at the mock draft right now. Orville Reeves, a linebacker out of Ohio State. I mean, it's Ohio State. You can't go wrong with it. It's a defensive player. I'm not too mad about that. I would like it to be a wide receiver or a safety. I feel like those have been the glaring positions of need. Yeah, Javon Holland and Paulson and Debo have been fine. I feel like there's an upgrade that the Giants can have at those positions, though. It'll all depend. I feel like the Giants could drop back to 6th or 7th overall. I mean, the 6th overall pick right now is Caleb Downs, a safety, and it's going to the Jets. So if you drop down there, you have an offensive tackle at 7. You have a wide receiver at 8, Jordan Tyson. Another O tackle at 9. I mean, the next corner or defensive back is Mansour Delane at 11, and then Jermod McCoy at 12. So, I mean, there is room for the Giants to fall back. I don't think that's too big of an issue. I think there's room for them to wheel and deal if they're not top 5. Like, obviously, it would be nice. Those are the premier players of the draft, but I feel like a lot of the time, that's not how it works. I know you have the best chance of taking the best players when you're drafting out of that spot, but I feel like there's less pressure, and the Giants probably will thrive. And listen, Joe Schoen hasn't been bad at drafting. He hasn't missed on a terrible amount of players. I mean, Dart seems to be a success. Neighbors is a stud. Scadaboo's a dog. Tyrone Tracy's very good. I like Tyler Nubin's game. Drew Phillips is all right. He has hit on a ton of draft picks. And so I'm confident that he can continue doing this. But getting back to Mike Kafka to wrap up this episode, I doubt he becomes the full-time head coach just because there are options out there. However, he can stay with the franchise in a lesser role, probably as offensive coordinator. All right, that's going to do it for the episode. If you enjoyed, please consider following, subscribing, liking, sharing, commenting. I really appreciate all of it. Also, check out all my socials. They're linked in the description. You can also leave me a voicemail with your sports questions or takes at 848-305-8073. Again, that's 848-305-8073. And last but not least, make sure you keep it locked with the Sports Pod.